comedy, and of course, a #1 hit on the recording charts.
I wrote Carol a fan letter when I was a senior in high school. I had entered a
Vicki Lawrence is a household name, beloved for her iconic performances on The Carol Burnett Show and countless television specials. Her humor, charm, and versatility have made her a star for decades. But behind the laughter and applause, the story was far more complicated than fans ever realized. For years, rumors swirled about tension on set, favoritism, and unspoken rules that affected cast members differently. Vicki, despite her talent and contributions, reportedly experienced treatment that was noticeably different from some of her peers. Subtle gestures, overlooked opportunities, and behind-the-scenes decisions hinted at a divide that the public never saw, but those who worked closely with the cast could not ignore. The details of Vicki's experience reveal much about the pressures and politics of working in a high-profile entertainment environment. While cameras captured moments of comedy and camaraderie, backstage dynamics often told a different story. Vicki's professionalism and dedication stood out, yet she had to navigate an environment where perception, power, and personal relationships influenced opportunities and recognition. Fans might be shocked to learn that some of the privileges afforded to others were not extended to her, and that certain decisions behind the scenes had lasting impacts on her career trajectory. Interviews, insider accounts, and rare revelations from colleagues show how Vicki managed to maintain grace, humor, and perseverance despite the challenges. This story goes beyond Hollywood gossip. It's a testament to resilience, talent, and the complexities of fame. Vicki Lawrence's experience is a powerful reminder that the brightest stars are not always treated equally, and that sometimes what happens behind the camera shapes a performer's life as much as what the audience sees on screen. Vicki Lawrence is a name synonymous with laughter, charm, and unforgettable performances. For decades, audiences have adored her work on The Carol Burnett Show, Mama's Family, and countless television specials. Seeing only the effortless humor and vibrant personality she projected on stage. Yet, behind the scenes, Vicki's journey was far more complicated. While the cameras captured joy and camaraderie, backstage dynamics told a story that few fans ever witnessed, one of subtle bias, unequal treatment, and challenges that tested her resilience. From the very beginning, it was clear that Vicki's talent was undeniable. She could deliver comedy with precision, timing, and warmth, earning praise from co-stars, directors, and audiences alike. Yet, despite her evident skill, there were decisions, behaviors, and patterns on set that consistently set her apart from her peers. Certain privileges, early script access, scheduling flexibility, or participation in high-profile sketches seemed to flow more freely to others. While Vicki often had to work harder for recognition, the reasons were never explicitly stated, but the implications were unmistakable. Insiders describe a subtle but persistent hierarchy behind the scenes. Vicki's interactions with certain producers or cast members often required more diplomacy, more patience, and a constant awareness of unspoken rules. Moments that should have been collaborative occasionally felt performative or conditional, with Vicki needing to prove herself repeatedly despite her established status. These dynamics, while not overtly hostile, created an environment where her contributions were sometimes minimized or overshadowed, and where her professional worth had to be silently reaffirmed every day. One particularly telling example involved a high-profile sketch during the show's prime years. Vicki had developed a concept and spent hours perfecting it, only to find that another performer received credit in the program notes and greater visibility in the final broadcast. While she maintained professionalism and delivered the performance flawlessly, the incident left an impression. Recognition was not always about talent alone. It was often tied to backstage politics, favoritism, and complex interpersonal dynamics. Despite these challenges, Vicki never allowed the inequities to diminish her work ethic or spirit. Colleagues who observed her resilience describe her as both strong and adaptable. Using humor and grace to navigate delicate situations, she maintained a commitment to excellence, even when the environment was less than supportive, proving that talent coupled with perseverance could overcome subtle but persistent barriers. What audiences see on screen is rarely the full story. For every laugh, every applause, and every celebrated moment, there are countless hours of negotiation, unseen stress, and behind-the-scenes dynamics that shape a performer's career. In Vicki Lawrence's case, her ability to remain steadfast in the face of unequal treatment became a defining aspect of her professional legacy, showcasing not only her comedic genius, but also her resilience and determination. Ultimately, Vicki's experience offers a window into the realities of working in a high-pressure, competitive industry where talent alone does not guarantee equal treatment. By navigating these challenges with poise and persistence, she not only secured her place in television history, but also set an example for future generations of performers. Her story is a testament to perseverance, professionalism, and the courage required to succeed in an environment where what happens behind the scenes often differs sharply from what the audience perceives. By the time Vicki Lawrence became a household name, she had already proven herself to be a consummate professional. Her comedic timing, versatility, and charisma made her indispensable on The Carol Burnett Show. Yet, behind the laughter, she faced an invisible barrier, one that subtly undermined her contributions and made success feel harder than it should have been. One of the earliest instances of unequal treatment involved casting decisions for high-profile sketches. Despite being one of the show's most talented performers, Vicki often found that lead roles in special segments or sketches went to other cast members. The choices weren't always based on skill. Rather, they seemed influenced by backstage politics, favoritism, or personal preferences of producers. Vicki quickly recognized the pattern, but maintained her professionalism, delivering strong performances regardless of the spotlight or lack thereof shining on her. Another challenge was recognition. While co-stars were publicly praised for ideas they contributed or improvisations they performed, Vicki's input was sometimes overlooked or quietly minimized. Colleagues recalled situations where she had suggested lines or concepts that were incorporated into sketches, yet in meetings and interviews, the credit was subtly redirected. She had ideas that could elevate any sketch, one insider revealed, but it often felt like she had to fight twice as hard to have them acknowledged. Despite these obstacles, Vicki approached each challenge with a combination of grace and humor. Rather than confronting every slight directly, she focused on her craft, letting her talent speak for itself. Her performances were consistently brilliant, drawing laughter, admiration, and eventually recognition from audiences worldwide. This resilience became her defining trait, the ability to navigate a system stacked unevenly against her without losing her professionalism or her spirit. The backstage dynamics also had a personal toll. Working in an environment where favoritism was apparent could be isolating, and there were moments when Vicki felt sidelined or undervalued. Yet she developed strategies to manage these pressures, relying on her humor, sharp instincts, and supportive relationships with trusted colleagues. Over time, she learned to navigate the politics of the set while continuing to contribute at the highest level. One pivotal moment came during a live broadcast where Vicki's improvisational skills saved a sketch that had begun to falter. Her quick thinking and creativity turned potential disaster into a standout moment, earning her quiet respect from the crew. However, even this triumph highlighted the persistent inequities. Despite her heroics, the public credit went primarily to others. For Vicki, such experiences were bittersweet reminders of both her abilities and the unseen challenges of the industry. Yet these obstacles never diminished Vicki's legacy. Instead, they strengthened her resolve and taught her invaluable lessons about perseverance, diplomacy, and the power of humility. She demonstrated that success in entertainment is not solely about talent. It's also about navigating relationships, politics, and perceptions with intelligence and grace. Ultimately, Vicki Lawrence's behind-the-scenes experiences reveal the complexities of working in a high-profile, competitive environment. Her story is not one of victimhood, but of resilience, showing how a performer can rise above inequities, maintain integrity, and leave an indelible mark. By facing challenges head-on, often quietly and with professionalism, she not only cemented her status as an entertainment icon, but also offered an example of how to thrive even when The odds are stacked unevenly. Her journey serves as a reminder to audiences and aspiring performers alike. The world behind the cameras can be as challenging as the one in front, but determination, talent, and grace are the ultimate keys to enduring success. For Vicki Lawrence, the challenges of unequal treatment behind the scenes were not always overt. Most often, they were subtle, the kind of slight that leaves a performer questioning their place, abilities, and worth. But there was one particular incident that crystallized the reality of what she was facing. A moment that, while initially discouraging, ultimately became a turning point in her career and personal growth. The incident occurred during the filming of a high-stakes variety special. Vicki had contributed extensively to the creative process, suggesting comedic beats, refining dialogue, and even helping choreograph physical comedy sequences. Her ideas had shaped the sketches, but when it came time to assign spotlight moments, she was once again sidelined. Key parts were given to other cast members, while her own role was reduced to supporting lines and background reactions. The decision was subtle enough to avoid public scrutiny, but clear enough to sting professionally. Behind the scenes, tension simmered. Vicki's colleagues were aware of her talent and dedication, and some quietly expressed their surprise at the uneven treatment. Vicki, however, approached the situation with characteristic professionalism. She chose not to confront the producers publicly, understanding that anger could easily be misinterpreted and harm her career. Instead, she focused on mastering her assigned parts, bringing energy, precision, and creativity to every performance, even when the recognition was not hers to claim. It was during the live broadcast of that special that Vicki truly shined. A last-minute script change caused confusion among the cast, and several performers struggled to adjust. Vicki, drawing on her experience and quick thinking, improvised flawlessly, saving a sketch that could have fallen flat. Her timing, comedic instincts, and stage presence turned a potentially disastrous segment into one of the night's highlights. Crew members later admitted that without her intervention, the sketch might have failed entirely, although the public saw only her talent and humor on stage. Behind the curtain, Vicki's actions were quietly heroic. This incident sent a clear message. While she could not always control the backstage politics, she could control her performance, her reputation, and her resilience. It became a defining moment, reinforcing her belief that professionalism, talent, and perseverance could overcome even the most subtle inequities. The experience also shaped Vicki's approach to her career moving forward. She became more strategic in navigating studio dynamics, learned when to assert her ideas, and when to let her work speak for itself. She built alliances with trusted colleagues and mentors, using these relationships to advocate for fair treatment and recognition, not through confrontation, but through consistent excellence. Ultimately, this chapter of Vicki Lawrence's story illustrates the dual realities of fame. Public adoration can mask behind-the-scenes challenges, and true talent often requires resilience in the face of inequity. The incident during the variety special was not an isolated case. It was emblematic of the patterns she encountered throughout her career. Yet her response to rise above the unfair treatment, excel under pressure, and maintain her integrity cemented her legacy as a performer who not only entertained audiences, but also navigated the complexities of show business with intelligence, grace, and unwavering professionalism. Vicki Lawrence's journey reminds audiences that success is rarely linear or easy, especially in environments fraught with bias and favoritism. Her story demonstrates that perseverance, adaptability, and a commitment to excellence can transform obstacles into opportunities and subtle challenges into moments of triumph. It is a lesson not just for performers, but for anyone striving to succeed where recognition and fairness are not always guaranteed. Over time, Vicki Lawrence's talent, resilience, and professionalism could no longer be ignored. While the backstage politics and subtle inequities continued to pose challenges, her consistent excellence began to shift perceptions. Colleagues, producers, and audiences alike recognized not only her comedic brilliance, but also her unwavering dedication to her craft. Slowly, the balance of recognition began to tip in her favor, affirming the truth that talent coupled with perseverance ultimately shines through. Even in an environment rife with favoritism, One turning point came during the later years of the Carol Burnett Show. By then, Vicki had cultivated a reputation as a performer who could be trusted to carry sketches, improvise under pressure, and elevate the material of her co-stars. When given a leading role in a particularly ambitious sketch, she delivered a performance that was both nuanced and uproariously funny, earning glowing praise from the production team and fans alike. Unlike previous experiences where credit was muted, this time the acknowledgement was public and unequivocal. It was a moment of vindication, demonstrating that excellence, even if delayed, cannot be overlooked forever. Yet perhaps the most important triumph for Vicki was not the awards, the recognition, or the applause. It was her personal growth and understanding of navigating a competitive industry. The subtle slights and unequal treatment she experienced early in her career became lessons in diplomacy, strategy, and resilience. She learned when to assert herself, when to let her work speak, and how to build alliances with colleagues who valued fairness and integrity. These lessons would guide her through decades of success, including her enduring role on Mama's Family and other television ventures. Vicki's experiences also highlighted a broader truth about show business. Audiences rarely see the unseen battles that shape a performer's career. While viewers laughed at her sketches and adored her characters, they were largely unaware of the challenges she had to overcome behind the cameras. By reflecting on these experiences, Vicki not only sheds light on the inequities within the entertainment industry, but also offers inspiration to aspiring performers. Success is rarely straightforward, and the ability to persevere despite obstacles is often as important as raw talent. Her story also serves as a reminder of the power of professionalism and character. While some may navigate fame through manipulation or favoritism, Vicki's path was defined by integrity, diligence, and the ability to excel under pressure. She transformed moments of inequity into opportunities for growth, proving that perseverance and grace can overcome even subtle injustices. In doing so, she not only solidified her career, but also created a lasting legacy of resilience and inspiration. Today, Vicki Lawrence is celebrated not just for her humor and iconic performances, but for her courage in navigating a complex, competitive industry with dignity. Her journey behind the scenes reveals the unseen realities of fame, the favoritism, the politics, and the challenges that accompany public success. Yet her triumph demonstrates that talent, determination, and integrity are ultimately recognized, even when the path is uneven. For fans, performers, and industry insiders alike, Vicki Lawrence's story is a testament to resilience, reminding us that excellence can endure despite inequities, that professionalism triumphs over favoritism, and that true legacy is built not only on talent, but on character, perseverance, and the ability to rise above challenges.